The Last of Us Part 2, probably the most anticipated game for the PS4, especially for me. I mean, the first The Last of Us game came out 7 years prior to this and was a beast of a game, in stories, characters, and the beautiful yet apocalyptic world that it was set in. Most importantly, this game gave us one of the best video game deals and a fan favorite protagonist. So when Part 2 was announced, we all had high hopes for this game. Yet this game currently has a 4.5 user score despite its 94 Metascore. So what made this game fail in so many fans' eyes? Today, I'm going to try something new and find out why with the Never Seen Before series on the channel called Game Review. That's it, the name isn't special. Also, I haven't said it yet, but spoiler alert for the entire game. Anyway, the first topic that I want to talk about is the negatives of this game, or at least what I didn't like about it. Firstly, I think one of the biggest negatives of this game was its new characters. Like many others, I didn't like Abby. There was so much I just didn't like about her, and the fact that you have to play as her for like 10 hours is just so annoying to me. Her gameplay got really boring to me, and I just overall didn't enjoy her character. She was just unnecessary. And yeah, I do realize that the game wants you to sympathize with her and knows that she isn't completely a terrible person, but I still just couldn't forgive her what she did to Joel. Even if her friends were like all killed by Ellie and Tommy. And even her friends are uninteresting, with the only person having anything close to personality was Manny, and even that was barely passable. Also, they killed Joel, so I hate them all. Now, let's get into some of the advantages that the game has. Firstly, this game has the best graphics I've ever seen in a video game. The environment is absolutely stunning, the animations are so detailed and smooth, and the acting is just top tier. Every cutscene looks great, and the transition back into the actual gameplay feels so well done. But I feel like everyone knows how great the game is visually, so we're just going to move on from that. The gameplay overall is really fun, with mixing a straightforward story mode while also including aspects of an open world gameplay. You can't travel everywhere throughout Seattle, but the sections that you do move into have so many open areas and buildings you can wander into and explore. Every area that you go into is well detailed, and you can tell that a lot of work has gone into making each random store or building. The way each building you go into tells its own story, whether by leaving a single runner with a goodbye note or putting a safe where you have to go find clues to get the code, really gives the story a more open feel, rather than a strictly linear story like the first game was. And don't get me started with the fighting mechanics of this game. This is what I think the sequel did way better than the first game. Not saying that the fight mechanics weren't already amazing in the first game. The fighting in this game used what Red Dead Redemption 2 did perfectly and made it even better by adding satisfying finishers and a wide array of ways to kill your enemy. Now you may be wondering how come I didn't add the story or specifically the ending at the negative section of this video. Well, this is because this is the part that I agree with the majority on. Firstly, I just want to say that a lot of the story was ruined by the fans themselves, but more on that in a second. I think that without the Abby part at least, was really good, but it had the biggest thing to fight against, which was itself. The story for the first game was a work of pure art, and it unfortunately set the bar extremely high for the sequel. There was no way that this game could beat itself story-wise, so it did let a lot of fans down when it didn't. And for the ending of the game, as sad as it is, it does make sense. I'm not going to say that I would have done the same thing as Ellie when she leaves to go find Abby, but I do understand why she spares Abby at the very end of the game. This game is about revenge and the effects of it and basically what it leads to. Joel killed Abby's dad, and so she went to go get revenge, and it led her to an unfortunate end with mostly all of her friends dead. Ellie went out for revenge, and now she's all alone with no one to help her. This chain of revenge has led to nothing but pain. So when Ellie spares Abby, she's breaking this chain of pain and suffering. Imagine if Ellie would have killed Abby and then Lev came for revenge or someone else. Then whoever comes after Ellie would go out for revenge, so Ellie breaks the cycle with herself. With both sides being broken and lost, revenge wouldn't have been worth it anyways. For the last section of this video, I want to just talk about why the fans collectively decided to hate the game, or at least why I think they did. For the first point, I want to blame ourselves for a lot of this hate. The fans hurt the story by leaking a lot of major plot points and revealing Joel's death early. It was at this moment when the fans started spoiling themselves that they started to build up a hate for the game. Another big part of the fans hated was the LGBT characters in this game. Many people complained about Ellie's sexuality being forced in the game, but we've known Ellie was lesbian, or at least she liked girls from the first game's DLC, and then the comics where she kisses her female friend. This game never really delves into her sexuality, but the game does show off her relationship with Dina, and using this method, I don't believe her sexuality is forced in the game. Another part that I've seen people complain about is the Abby and Owen sex scene. Now, this was kind of weird to see at first, but it's used as character development to show that Abby isn't purely a great person, and neither is Owen because he's cheating on his pregnant wife, and it also does explain why Owen wants to keep Abby around so much. Also, I just want to clear something up about it being a transgender sex scene. Abby is a female, but her being trans might have come from people leaking information about one of the transgender characters named Lev and mix it up with Abby. So when they saw Abby, she was just built strong because she, lifts weights and all that stuff. And a lot of people hate the game just to hop onto the hate train, which is just stupid to me. They haven't even played the game and only want to hate it because some others do. In fact, most things get hate before they're recognized as great later on, so who knows how this game will get viewed later on. Alright, welcome to the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Also, I just wanted to give Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson so many props. They were amazing throughout the entire game. You see, I love The Last of Us Part 2, and if you don't like it, that's completely fine. I mean, there were some things I didn't go into this video, like the stealth, which I think is done great, but you know what? Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.